What's going on, everybody? American Football Network here with another video today. And today we're bringing you guys a video on USC and are they a legit threat in the Big Ten? But before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment those thoughts and opinions down below. Let me reach that goal of 1,400 subscribers by the end of September. Check out the description for links to our shop, podcast, website, patron page, and our college football roundup channel. So we appreciate you guys tuning in today. Check all of that stuff out for us. But let's jump in to today's video. Is USC a legitimate threat in the Big Ten, and can they make a push for a college football playoff run? They're coming off a win last night over LSU in the season opener, 27 of 20. Miller Moss shined in the game, 27 of 36, 378 yards and a touchdown. Woody Marks, the Mississippi State transfer, also big game from him, 16 carries, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. At 4.3 yards a carry, which isn't some super amazing number, but that is a solid number. If you can do that every game, that's going to be very successful for you. Kyron Hudson, man, did he have a game? 5 catches, 83 yards, 16.6 yards per catch. Had the 2 highlight reel plays, the insane one-handed grab, and then at the end of the game, another one-handed catch and held on to the football through the targeting hit and set them up for the go-ahead touchdown. Zachariah Branch, 4 catches, 56 yards, 14 yards a carry for him. Also had a 46-yard kickoff return in there. Jacoby Lane, a big game from him as well. 3 catches, 50 yards, 16.7 yards per catch from him and a touchdown. And then even Lake McCree getting in there as the tight end, 5 catches, 56 yards, 11.2 yards a catch for him. Big games from and very spread out, very solid performances, and very spread across the board from these USC receivers. Miller Moss led his team straight down the field, tied at 20, and with a minute and a half to go, I believe it was like a minute 31, a minute 34, something like that, to go. Miller Moss shines, leads them straight down the field, and Woody Marks caps it off with a 13-yard touchdown with 8 seconds to go. And then defensively, you look for Mason Cobb had the game-sealing interception at the end that prevented LSU from setting up a potential Hail Mary. Eric Gentry, big dog on that D-line, had 2 tackles for loss and a pass deflection. You look at the offensive line in this game, they only allowed 2 sacks, 450 yards of total offense from USC, only 6 penalties for 50 yards. That was something that they struggled with last year, was penalties, only 6 of them for 50 yards, less than 10 yards of penalty is very solid, especially in week 1. And then they defensively held LSU to 5 of 13 on third downs and only 8 yards per pass attempt, which for USC, when you look at that defense from last year, that was the biggest question coming in. Obviously, you have Miller Moss replace Caleb Williams, but the biggest thing that has kept all Lincoln Riley teams from doing anything, particularly in the postseason, is the lack of defense. Last year, USC couldn't tackle to save their life. A lot of good defensive stops and defensive plays from them last year. I mean, on the first drive of the game, they had to step up and make a goal line, a goal-to-go situation stop, and they did on 4th down on LSU's first drive of the game. And, I mean, these defenses played very good, both of them really. And for this LSU team to be held to 20 points, what a job that USC defense did. And if they could play like that the rest of the year, as we look at their schedule now, this is a team that could potentially end up in the playoff, all right? After what they did against LSU, we know 2 things of them. 1, the defense is improved, and 2, the Miller Moss is living up to expectations after that game. After that game, I have no doubt that if Miller Moss gets the ball with 2 minutes to go against pretty much anybody in the country, he has the capability of taking them down the field to go put some points on the board and win the game. He didn't get discouraged from not putting up points early. He stayed in rhythm, stayed making his plays. There were a few passes he threw that probably could have been intercepted, especially the one that went straight up in the air. I don't know how that one wasn't intercepted, but a very solid game, very good game, very poised game from Miller Moss. Utah State, that's a win. All right, at Michigan. This is a game that I think USC can go on the road and win. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Michigan does have a very solid defense, The problem for me in this game is Michigan can't complete a forward pass. I think USC can win that one. Wisconsin, that's going to be a winnable game, especially at home. At Minnesota, that's a winnable game. UNC's defense is worse than USC's, and they held Minnesota to what, 14, 16 points. Penn State, another winnable game. It's a game. Good thing you get it at home instead of on the road. Again, it's a winnable game against a top 10 football team. Your defense is gonna be in for a long day most likely, but it's a game that you can definitely win. At Maryland, can win that one. Probably will win that one. Probably will beat Rutgers. At Washington, that's a game you should win. Nebraska, we'll see with them. We'll see what happens with them and how they play. But I think that is a very winnable game. UCLA, I have my doubts about. I think that's a very winnable. I think USC should win that one. And then Notre Dame to cap off the season. After what we've seen from this USC team this year, they can beat Notre Dame. They can beat them. The defense seems to have played, pretty solid and against a better offensive line. Let's remember that too. Against a better offensive line, it's crazy. Notre Dame doesn't have the best offensive line in the country. They typically do, but that LSU offense, both tackles are going in the top 15 in the NFL draft. That is a better offensive line than they will face against Notre Dame, and to put up the work that they did, especially in week 1 against that LSU offensive line, I think that they can beat Notre Dame, especially if this is a home game, especially if they go into this game with maybe just one loss or, heck, it's possible 0 losses in this game, going in undefeated. So I fully believe that USC could make a playoff run and make a playoff, make the college football playoff, and maybe win a game or two in it. They might even make it to the Final Four. Who knows? But with this improved defense and the way Miller Moss and this offense looked, I think